And what is up, you guys? The same YouTube channel as always, JPTV 3000. Today it's a bit of a oil field update. Gonna be talking about some oil field jobs, opportunities, answering some questions that people have asked. So without further ado, let's get this knocked out the way. And I may be leaving here in a minute because this guy's probably about to start washing his truck. And of course, if you've ever been to Midland, Odessa, finding shade might be a difficult thing. But North Dakota's kind of the same way. But we're talking about Frac Oil. They're a fuel company in North Dakota. They're also down here in Midland, Odessa, Texas. They're farther out on 20 West, and you'll see them, big yard, Frac Oil off to the right on the north side of 20. I don't remember the exit, but you can't miss it, because when you get there, right before you get to where the scale is, that big scale place on 20, right outside of Odessa. But you can look them up. Frac Oil, ROLFSONOIL. Another one that does frac fueling is Atlas, but they do a lot more than just frac fueling. I think they're also the same sand company, but I think it's Atlas Oil does the fuel. I know they're down here too. They pay really good, and if you got a CDL, it's even better. They're hiring for CDL drivers. They may be hiring for some frac positions and stuff like that. Creek Energy Services in Mandaree, that's MANDEREE, North Dakota. They do fuel. I think the two companies are still separate or together. It's Creek Oilfield Services, which is the reservation company. Then you have SBG or SGB or something like that, which they bought them out or they became that company or something like that. But either way, they're still in the same place as far as I know. I think I've touched base with a few people that still work there from when I was there. They do frac fueling. They also transport diesel fuel. They also haul propane out to customers. So you'll be going out on a route, and that route will be to supply generators, to supply somebody who has a tank that takes 100 gallons or something. So it kind of depends on what you're doing, but it's a relatively laid-back job. It pays good money. I don't know if Creek still has their employee housing. When I get up to North Dakota, like, I'll make a ride around and kind of see, because I hadn't been up there to see how stuff is. So we'll find out. Pinnacle is another one. Pinnacle, I don't remember the second part of it ain't Pinnacle Fuel. Matter of fact, since we're talking about fuel companies, Prairie Fuels, that's the first one right there on the left when you're going up the hill after you pass the bridge, after you go over the bridge on 85 going into Williston. They're right there to the left, unless the name has been changed or they're no longer there. But I don't know, because I'm not up there at this very minute. I'm currently in Midland, Odessa, Texas, going through safety training and stuff. So that's Prairie Fuels. They do fuel. There's another one called Benz Oil, BENZOIL. That's also another fuel company. The stuff that I'm telling you is what I know for a fact from the last time that I was in North Dakota working and being involved in a part of that community, that area, and my first-hand experience knowing what's going on the ground. And that was in the last time that was the way it was in 2020. So we're in 2023. So we talked about Creek, we talked about Prairie Fuels, we talked about Frac Oil. These are all fuel companies. So you can go haul fuel, or some of them you may be a fuel tech or a frac tech, depending on how it wants to be phrased. And those are the main fuel companies. Oh yeah, there's another one called MVP, Missouri Valley Petroleum. That's a company that I came this close from saying, okay, that's what I'm going to work at from now on, period. They were at the job fair in 2019 or 2020, something like that. And the lady was telling me about their compensation package. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and okay. But Missouri Valley Petroleum, I talked to y'all about Benz Oil, BENZOIL. Horizon Resources is also another fuel company in the Bakken. Horizon does more than fuel. I work there as a temp job hauling fertilizer. That'll usually come up in somewhere in April or May. They'll start doing that, and you can go apply there directly and just tell them, hey, you want to be a seasonal fuel hauler, and if you are thinking about going up there working in that area, boom, perfect, you can go do that and kind of get your feet wet. You'll tend to work most of the daylight hours because they're working with the schedule of the farmers. But that's the other company that does fuel. I'm trying to think of who else, man. Benz, MVP, Atlas, Pilot Thomas ain't doing fuel up there. I don't think, but hey, I don't know. They could be. I said Horizon. I said Rolferson. I said Creek. I said Pinnacle. That's pretty much it. There could be some more up there that's doing fuel. It really depends, but most of the ones that I just named, those are the ones that they're in the Bakken, they're in the area, and they're not going anywhere. And some of them may have changed hands and changed names since the last time I was there, till we find out within the next couple of months or so. And as far as fuel, I'm gonna stop this video right here because I want to break this down into parts so that anyone that's interested in fuel related, that's CDL, hauling fuel, bulk, and transfer. Transfer is when you can kind of call it the same thing. Anyway, one of them is when you're hauling fuel from one place, when you're hauling tens of thousands of gallons from one place to another, and you're taking it from one yard, one train location, bringing it back to the company's facility, and then the company distributing out the fuel, you know, as customers are calling in and purchasing it. If it be fuel, make sure you know the difference between dye, which is the green, the green diesel, the regular diesel, and the red, the dyed diesel, because one is for off-road, one is for highway, and they are different, and you will put them into different equipment. Some equipment you'll put the red in, some equipment you'll put the green in, depending on the customer and what the customer wants. Make sure you don't mix those where they don't need to be mixed at. Let's see. Yep. As far as fuel goes, I talked about the CDL part of it. Then you have the non-CDL, which would be the general laborer, you know, somebody who's new to the oil field, or somebody who just has oil field experience but they don't have a CDL. Somebody who's new to the oil and gas industry but they don't have a CDL. That's some opportunities for you, and you'll have to apply accordingly and make sure you fill out the applications. Plenty of people have asked me questions. Hey man, how do I get into the oil field? First of all, you've got to fill out the application, and your application has to look like, number one, you're a solid person. Number two, you can do the job. Number three, you're serious about it. Number four, they can depend on you. Number five, this is what you want to do. So with that being said, This video is at 10 minutes. Next video is going to be talking about a different part of the employment opportunities in the oil field.